you said to me at the start, this is going to give them an opportunity to understand from a legacy point of view and from your story point of view, to gain an insight in regards to your career that you were never able or never wanting to give them.
Oh, man, you caught me blindsided. I can't remember.
I just come up with it on the fly, Andy. I don't know these questions before I ask them.
Poor blindsided.
You're off the screen. Whiz into the screen a bit. I can't see you properly.
I think, kind of shooting from the hip. I think it was like to prove that, not just for me, but for the people that knew me from my childhood, my family specifically, that the legacies of key appointments, and I specifically talk about my mum and my grandmother, and how much of an effect they had on my life, with like the limited time that they had to impact me, kind of set me up for success through creating like an endurance and a persistence that I think is probably one of my best attributes. And it was truly tested throughout my entire Army career, not just physically, but spiritually, and most importantly, emotionally, because it really was an emotional roller coaster in a really short period of time. Like, when I look through the journals that I kept on all of my deployments, and all my my lockers of all the skills and qualifications that I acquired in that space of 12 years, like I was like, so I lived that 12 years so fast that now that I look back, I was like, man, that felt like 6 minutes. And I don't think I would have been able to do that without the conditioning and like the impact of what my mom and my grandma had on me, to be able to set me up to be able to face those challenges.
It's interesting. Most people when they talk about mindset, it's like, oh, just look at the next step, and look at literally not the next 3 hours or the next footstep that you need to take in regards to the mindset. They don't normally take it in terms of the impact that others have had in their lives to set up that groundwork. So that's an interesting take on it. Given that this is your first time doing a podcast and telling your story, you said to me previously, when we had a chat previously, that you felt that this is the right time and that you were in the right headspace to tell your story. Do you feel like there is anything else that you'd like to discuss?
Not right now. Like, as I said, there's things that come to me as I reflect in my own quiet time. I'm all about, having time to just sit and look back on things that I tucked away because I wasn't ready to deal with them or cope with them yet. So probably more to follow on being able to answer that, which I'm sure there is, but maybe partially answering that question, this has been like a huge step in telling like some really small parts of my story. And I think it was important to face that, because I spoke to you about one thing that I've learned through looking through the history books and through other service women, and maybe not just service women, other iconic figures in history, whether it be military, inventors, explorers, whatever the case may be, if they don't take a step back and acknowledge maybe they did something that is important enough to share with other people to improve their walk in life, it kind of gets wasted. And I think that I've reached that point where I've separated myself from my military career to be able to share in some of the things that I experienced, that I hope, whether it be people, military, law enforcement, first responders, you name it, can be like, hey, like, there's some answers that I was kind of needing to hear from somebody that has walked that path.
And the importance of getting professional assistance in terms of mental health if you're needing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure in speaking with you. I'm looking forward to you coming back and reflecting on some more of the stories that you want to tell. We can definitely have you back. We're about 3 hours in on the podcast at the moment. So, and I hear that a book may be in the works. So I'm going to continue to pester you about doing a book.
Yeah. There's plenty of pages just over on that shelf over there that, I spent a lot of time writing. So I better put them into something decent.